Welcome to the VarsityKansas.com Prep Football Preview. I am Joanna Chadwick of the Wichita Eagle and VarsityKansas.com with Tony Adame. And we're going to talk about football this week again.
More football.
More football. Can you ever get enough football?
No.
I agree. All right, well, let's start off with West and Northwest. West takes a loss last week to Capon. They're down 28-0 and come back, and they made it a game, but they do take their first loss, and now they're heading into playing Northwest, where Kevin Folsom at quarterback leads the City League in rushing and passing.
Something where, Weston Shart's West coach said after the game that they kind of did everything wrong that they could, and that to get down 28-0, and then they played pretty much, almost a perfect game after that. So they really have to be kicking themselves after that, especially because they could have set up such a big undefeated showdown with West. It's an old school West-Northwest rivalry game again.
That's right, I know.
It'd be interesting to see.
I know. Remember those days when Weston Sharts went to Northwest and was coaching there and then faced his old school? That was always fun to see, too.
Yeah, it was weird time.
It was weird.
A weird decade.
I totally agree. All right, well, let's look at just quickly through the rest of the City League, which Heights plays East. Xavier Kelly came back last week. Heights takes a big loss to Bishop Carroll there. Not that surprising. Carroll's tough. North is at Bishop Carroll, and Bishop Carroll is pretty much rolling right now. Adam Tice is second in the City League in rushing. Southeast and Capon. Capon, that was a really big win for Capon. Brock Monty no longer leading the City League in passing, but he's only off Kevin Folsom by a couple 20 yards or something like that.
It's with Heights, I'm always surprised that they're not more competitive. I feel like they've I don't know why. This year seems like they're really taking a step back. They
really have, and part of it is their offensive line is extremely young, and there's just a lot of youth across the board. So, but anytime we see a program that has been so strong for so many years, it is always shocking. All right, well, let's look at Eisenhower and Andover Central, and Eisenhower, I'm 0 for 4 in picking Eisenhower in predictions. Just so you know, it's really an impressive stat.
Because they're a tough team to pick, though, because I watched them play the first week. You could see that they were going to be a team that's going to scrap and kind of, probably get 2 or 3 games above 500. And this is such a huge game for them. And it's just interesting to see if Peyton Huselig, the Andover Central quarterback, plays. Because I know that was a big thing for them last week. They lost to May South and didn't have him. And they only lose by 10 points. He's worth at least that.
However, one thing lost in the deadline writing of that story is the fact that Corey Frausto had an amazing game for May South.
Yeah.
Cole Taylor, on and backup of Peyton Huselig, had an amazing game too.
41 points should be enough to win.
Well, right,
usually.
But he had more than 300 yards passing. He had 6 touchdowns that he himself was involved in, and Corey Frausto was involved in 7 touchdowns. There's your difference right there, and over 300 yards rushing. What an incredible night!
Incredible, and I guess I'm kind of the mind that with Daraja Parnell, if he can throw it up, he'll go get it.
Well, kid is a straight up.
You might be able to throw for 200 for them.
Only 200? Weak. All right, looking at Valley Center at Goddard. 2 teams right here that I really like. First of all, wrote last week on Valley Center.
Chase Crawford, amazing feature.
She
did a great job. VarsityKansas.com, go check it out. He's an amazing safety. She did a great job.
Yeah, and he averages 18 tackles a game, but there's more to him than just the 18 tackles.
Yeah, there is, definitely.
Pretty cool. But how about them sitting at 3-1? They're playing Goddard, who's 1-3, but they've lost. Their games have been lost by 7, 7, and 3 points, losing to Salina Central, who has the area's best running back in Dalton Peters, who has 935 rushing yards already. We're 4 games in.
I know. You make a good point about Valley Center. It's been interesting to watch them the last couple of years with Caleb Smith just going on the uptick. Every year they get a little bit better, and it's interesting to see, obviously, the son of Mike Smith, legendary coach, and every year they get a little bit better, and this year it's you see it coming together. It's interesting.
It really is. All right, Chaparral is at Garden Plain. Of course, these are both unbeaten teams. Chaparral, Jacob Jenkins has done a really nice job for them, and Alex Becker for Garden Plain. I tell you, Chaparral, to me, is just continuing what they've done over the past few years with Coach Burke, but you look at Garden Plain, kind of risen up. This is a good test for them. They've already beaten Conway Springs. Now they want that league title by beating Chaparral. Cheney is at Trinity. Cheney led by quarterback Austin Wheelock, and Trinity Academy by Josh Osborne, a guy who's been a wide receiver, comes in this year playing quarterback, and also Sam Schroeder there. I like that. Another Central Plains League matchup.
Schroeder's a really tough running back. He's from the first game this year, he's been doing it, scoring a lot of touchdowns, eating up big chunks of yardage. He's someone who can win games for him. We
have Wellington at Andale, and Wellington led by Connor Phelps. That team is very athletic. I like what they've got, but they're young, and they're a little bit better than I thought they were going to be this year. Andale, you know, they could have been sent reeling after the collegiate loss in overtime. They had led the whole game. But, man, they come back against Circle. They score 51 in the first half. And they've got an interesting mix there with their backs with Tristan Dejanay, Zach Meyer, and Taylor Richter, that they're getting a lot of yards there.
A lot of new players there, too, right? A lot of new guys in the backfield.
Guys that we just really don't know that much about, because Bo Knobloch has proven to be a better he's really making his mark as a blocking back and also on defense. All right, we also have Hayes at Wichita South. We're looking at a Wichita South team who has a chance to go 5-0.
It's unbelievable to think that if you know anything about City League football, you know, decades of just miserable teams, and to see a team like this to have that chance to go 5-0. I mean, there's a lot there with the school and the background, and obviously Alan Bishop, their great quarterback. It's becoming kind of the story. And what's amazing was with Northwest, you know, becoming such a state contender, but South to me is the biggest story so far.
I totally agree. Anytime we can see Northwest has that tradition.
Yeah.
I mean, South has a different sort of tradition, and that's why it's great to see them break out of that.
To see them, you know, even have the potential to go 5-0 is kind of amazing.
It's unbelievable. All right, finally we'll wrap it up with Sterling at Halstead. Of course, Halstead made its mark a year ago. Blake Beckett again having another great season. But you're looking at Sterling. This is a team I picked them really low in the Central Kansas League, and here they are sitting at 3-1. Their only loss to Heston, a team that Halstead beat, so that'll be interesting to watch. Well, now where are you heading on Friday night?
I'll be Hayes South. I'll be at that game.
That's going to be a good one. I'm going to be watching West Northwest. I haven't seen West yet, so I'm looking forward to that.
Another great game. Homecoming for Northwest.
You know, homecoming games are always fun, except for the media, because, of course, that 20-minute halftime,
yeah,
it kills me. All right. Thanks so much for watching VarsityKansas.com's prep football preview.
That's right.
Joanna Chadwick, Tony Adame.